I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't hit, I don't sleep. When I'm focused on dangerous, they don't wanna when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me elevating. Got them nauseous, cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house. And woo! Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Woo!
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC Mexico. We got Brandon Moreno going against Brandon Royval, a card that I am really looking forward to. I like this card from a betting perspective. I like this card from a Draftkings perspective, and I like this card from a fan perspective as well. We got 13 fights. All 13 of these fights have stayed on. They all have survived weigh-ins, barely. We almost lost Edgar Chairez, Daniel Lacerda for the 20th time. I'm actually surprised they kind of let the fight go through. Edgar Chairez weighing in at 131 pounds, Daniel Lacerda 127. If Daniel Lacerda made weight, the fight probably would not have happened. So luckily, they both missed weight, and we're going to get to watch this fight finally, hopefully, but yeah, finally, we're going to get to watch it. Have a decent amount of action for this card. You guys have heard it all week, and you're going to hear it more here. High elevation. I'm attacking these gassers like a Daniel Lacerda. I'm attacking the durability of some of these fighters and looking to cash some late props as well, some finish props here. So yeah, looking forward to breaking it all down. Before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I go live every Friday giving my final thoughts for the card. Talk some betting, DraftKings weigh in, some prize picks as well. Tomorrow we're going to have best bet at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Have a stacked panel tomorrow for best bet. Should be a good show. Late start tomorrow. Fights are starting at 7 Eastern. And then other than that, my betting breakdown video will be out probably around 7-ish tonight or this evening. So, yep, looking forward to this card. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. We have Melon, first one in the building. Ortega is the lock of the week, free money. So I guess he's going to lose now. So I guess it's confirmed. Anytime somebody says somebody's a lock, they always seem to lose. So I don't know, Melon. We'll see. I don't have a strong lean on that fight one way or another, though. We got Samuel in the building. Happy Friday, Brady. Let's get this money. Let's get it. What is up, Samuel? Hopefully you're having a great Friday yourself. Brandon is the lock of the week. I agree. I do think Brandon is going to win in the main event. Fighter Fade UFC sub, Brady. What is up? Saying us up to the chat. Brandon wins the main event. I agree with Zester. We got Randy in the building. What is up, Randy? Happy Friday to you as well, Patrick. Yair needs to retire. I mean, come on, man. Yair he's only like 31. I don't think he's going to retire. If you're getting finished by Volk, it's over for you. Come on, man. Come on. We got Eric in the building. What is up, Eric? Hopefully you're doing well. This is What's Up, Brady. Hope all is well. Good luck this week, and good luck to you as well. Let's see here. We got Poopy Pot Piz? Poopy Pizza Face? What a name there. What a name there. Haven't been following analysis at all for this card. Sketched out and probably not betting unless Brady convinces me. Yeah, there's some spots sticking out, man. Is it a sketchy card? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure it is. There's a lot of really big favorites that are probably too big of favorites. Yeah, kind of sketchy card, but a card that I am looking to make some money on. Yasmin lock of the week. Yeah, I mean, I think she wins. I'm pretty confident she wins, but a lot of people are on the Sam Hughes side this week. Edgar stopped cutting weight when Lacerda missed. Yeah, it looked like it. It looked like he stopped cutting weight. Chairez looked fine to me. Chairez looked like completely fine to me. It was weird. So wasn't even close. 131. Hopefully Yasmin doesn't gas. Yeah, I haven't really seen anything that would lead me to believe she would. You know, she always has had some good cardio. So I'm not really worried about that. Let's see. Yasmin -700. Yasmin decision -120. I actually think she finishes Sam Hughes. But yeah, decision -120. The knockout's like +2 something, I think. Got Nick in the building. What is up? Let's see. I got Yasmin under 2.5 at +240. There you go, Steve. Yeah, I was looking at the under, not at 240, but the under 2.5 at like +190 or so. Ended up betting the fight doesn't go to decision around +145. But yeah, that's a great line, man. What's up, Brady? Prize Picks. Yeah, we could talk some Prize Picks. You're talking about my Prize Picks video. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue doing that. We'll have to see in the near future. Just not a lot of people watch it, so I don't know. We'll see if we keep doing that or not. But we can definitely talk Prize Picks here. I gave out a Prize Picks play on my Draftkings show as well. So we'll see. We got Lays. How's it going? How's it going to you as well? Yasmin over 1.5 better than money line. Yes, absolutely. I missed the weigh-ins. Did everyone make weight? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Daniel Lacerda and Edgar Charas both missed. UFC told Edgar to stop cutting weight because Lacerda was going to miss. Weird. I think Sam can survive 2 rounds. Sprinkled Yasmin at round 3 as a hedge. I'm on the round 3 as well. All right, guys. I say we get into it. We're going to start with the first fight of the card. And if my laptop will start working. Okay, it's working now. All right, we got Muhammad Naimov going against Eric Silva. I'm going to pull up these odds, refresh these odds. And yeah, it was actually weird. I saw Muhammad Naimov last week at -278. Thought about maybe parlaying it with something from last week's card. Ended up staying away. And there's just been nothing but Naimov love on the money line. Naimov probably the most popular parlay piece this week. He's now -550. He got up as high as like -600 at one point. But yeah, -550 for Naimov. And is it wide? Yes, but it's hard to make a case for Eric Silva, at least for me. This is a guy, Eric Silva, 36-year-old bantamweight, came in the UFC around 35 years old, and yeah, I mean, the TJ Brown fight was just a horrible look. He's making a lot of mistakes in there. He was showing worse fight IQ than TJ Brown, which, I mean, he deserves a medal. Like, if you're showing worse fight IQ than TJ Brown, you need a medal, a trophy, a award of some type, because showing worse fight IQ than TJ Brown is just an incredible accomplishment, because TJ Brown has one of the worst fight IQs we've ever seen. So, yeah, he was showing terrible fight IQ there, terrible cardio. He slowed down massively after the first round. Really had nothing left after the first 5 minutes. And once that third round hit, just completely done. This is a guy in Eric Silva who has only been to decision, I believe, once in his career, 2 finished losses. So yeah, Eric Silva, I question the cardio. I question the decision-making. And Naimov's a good fighter. There's a reason, people are parlaying this guy up. I'm not the highest on Naimov, but he's a good fighter. He's 2-0 in the UFC, including a big upset win against Jamie Malarkey on short notice, up a weight class, and then a really good win against Nathaniel Wood. I think both Nathaniel Wood and Jamie Malarkey are better, much better actually, than Eric Silva. So yeah, there's a reason this line has moved where it has. What I like here is I like violence to kick off the night. I don't mind the fight doesn't go at -200, 210, but what I do like is Naimov inside the distance, -135. This guy's a -550 favorite. He's very dangerous, has a ton of power. I think on the feet, it's not really even close. But we also have seen Silva, make mistakes on the mat. We've seen him get submitted twice as well. So I could see a Naimov sub, KO. I don't want to pick one. Just give me the inside the distance for Naimov to kick off the card. So yeah, attack that for 2.5 units. It is my biggest play on the card here. I think he stops Silva. Could be early, could be late. I thought about maybe the Naimov late props because I'm attacking a lot of late props on this card, but I mean, they're horrible prices, and I mean horrible. I think I saw Naimov round 2 like +400, +460, and then Naimov round 3 like +700. So they are all over the late props, and it could be early as well. So I don't really want to mess around with that, but give me Naimov to go out there and get a early finish. Naimov on DraftKings is very interesting. He's 9,100, and he's like -600 on the money line. This guy in reality should be priced like 95, 9,600. We're getting him at 9,100, so like Naimov quite a bit. And then as far as Eric Silva, maybe a dart throw, maybe a little bit of shares of him. He's super cheap, 700, and if he does win, it is probably like a first-round submission or something along those lines. So, yeah, Naimov on DraftKings, Naimov inside the distance, maybe a small sprinkle on Silva on DraftKings, but yeah, I think Naimov does get it done in dominant fashion. Yeah, man. I mean, some of those Combate fights. I mean, those were kind of hard to watch. I mean, she was just brutalizing a lot of her opponents. And yeah, she has multiple finishes on those outside the UFC. Hey, Uncle Weezy in the building. Oi, what is up, Uncle Weezy? By the way, Muhammad Naimov is Uncle Weezy's axe shaming of the week. More specifically, that inside the distance. Weezy got minus 125, so beat some line movement there. I got it at minus 135. I like it, and I'm looking for Naimov to finish this fight. Does my mom make the optimal lineup for DK? I think there's a good chance, man. Like 9,100 for this guy, it just seems too cheap. You know, this guy's a ton of upside. He's going against Eric Silva. Yeah, I think he definitely could. Naimov will be massive chalk on DK. Yep, I think you're exactly right. I mean, he's way too cheap. He has a ton of upside. People aren't sold on Eric Silva. I agree. He's going to be one of the highest owned. I don't know the ownership off the top of my head that I have, but I think he's either like the second or third highest owned, maybe even first. Like he's up there with a lot of these higher owned guys with like Brandon Moreno. He's going to be massive chalk. I agree. Are you going to be betting PFL versus Bellator at all? I'm going to look into it more tonight and then tomorrow. There are some fights I looked into a little bit, but nothing at the moment. I got to dig a lot more into it. I spent all day today trying to finalize UFC Mexico content and all of that. So I'm going to try to get into some PFL versus Bellator tonight. And if I do bet anything, I'll probably post it on Twitter or something. Silva means second place. Muhammad, however he wants. Yeah, I agree. However he wants. And hopefully inside the distance. All right, guys, let's move on to the next fight. We got Felipe Dos Santos going against Victor Altamirano. So I'm betting on 10 out of the 13 fights. This is one that I'm just going to pass on. It's one of those fights where I think at the end of the day, Felipe Dos Santos gets his hand raised, but minus 290, minus 300, I just can't get there. I wasn't impressed at all with Felipe Dos Santos outside of his debut with Manel Kape. With that said, though, he did make his debut against Kape, and he was impressive. He lost the fight clearly, but he had a lot of good moments. He had some success against a very, very good fighter, Manel Kape. He's only 23 years old. He's only going to get better. He's training with really good guys. So, yeah, we're going to be expecting improvements, fight after fight with Felipe Dos Santos. I think this guy has a solid ceiling. It's just minus 300 against Victor Altamirano. I feel like the fight could be a lot more competitive than the line does indicate, but I got to go to Santos here. I think he's going to have the volume edge. I think really either guy could potentially go for takedowns here, but primarily going to stay on the feet. And so Santos is going to have more volume, the harder shots as well, more power. So I'm kind of thinking Felipe Dos Santos wins the decision. Shout out to Uncle Weezy. He's on the Victor Altamirano plus 3.5 point spread, which means that Altamirano really just has to win one round on all three judges' scorecards. I don't hate that. But I'm just going to stay away here, sit back and watch. It should be a fun fight, back and forth war, I think, type fight. So give me a Felipe Dos Santos, but nothing sticking out from a betting perspective. From a DraftKings perspective, I think there's better options. Like we just talked about Naimov, 100 less. We'll talk about Edgar Chairez, who's going to be 100 more. So kind of sandwiched between two guys I really like. I don't think he's the worst play in the world, but I do like some other guys better in that 9K range. I'm 0-2 betting against Naimov. Time to jump on the train. So for me, I didn't bet on the Naimov Wood fight. I laid off that one. I did bet Jamie Malarkey round 2 and round 3, and it ended up being Naimov knocking him out in round 2. So yeah, I'm 0-1 betting against Naimov, but I am on the train this week, and hopefully it doesn't bite me. I mean, everybody seems to be on the Naimov train this week. Felipe finish only is minus 300. I like that more than the money line. Yeah, I mean, Victor Altamirano is not a finisher unless he's fighting Daniel Da Silva Lacerda. So yeah, if you want to play, the finish only, I think it's fine. Dos Santos, definitely. Yep, I'm picking Dos Santos. Not as confident as you seem to be, but yeah, I'm picking him to win nonetheless. Can you see a Dos Santos finish? Maybe, man. I mean, Victor Altamirano, he's tough. But Dos Santos does hit hard. So maybe I think a lot of people are betting that Dos Santos finish props because they are getting kind of hit, it looks like. Fight doesn't go, decisions coming down quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know. I could see it potentially, but I'm kind of leaning more so decision personally. Victor might be the most pathetic fighter in the UFC. Victor, come on, man. I mean, I'm not high on Victor Altamirano myself. I wouldn't call him pathetic, though. It's kind of mean, Melon. And we got LG in the building. What is up, Brady? Fun card. Very fun card. I'm looking forward to it. All right. We'll keep moving on, guys. We have the next fight. Luis Rodriguez going against Denise Bondar. And the very first bet I made on this card was Luis Rodriguez plus 105 for 1 unit. The line has flipped a tad. He's now minus 120. And so, yeah, this was the first fight I looked into this week because I saw Denise Bondar was a favorite in the UFC. And I was like, what the heck? I didn't know who Luis Rodriguez was. I'm like, man, Luis Rodriguez must suck. How's Bondar a favorite against anybody? And then I watched Luis Rodriguez, and I guess he blew away my expectations. I was expecting to see a guy that really sucks, and he's not the best fighter, but he definitely doesn't suck. I went back and watched his Contender Series fight against Jerome Rivera, a fight that I thought he won. I think the majority of people can all agree that he did win that fight. The judges got it wrong, but that fight was 3-4 years ago. Ever since then, he has been making a lot of improvements. I think he has great takedown defense, great scrambling ability, sneaky submission game, some power as well. Yeah, I was impressed with Luis Rodriguez. 24 years old, only going to get better. We haven't seen this guy in 8-9 months, so we could expect improvements. He's training in Mexico City the last 6 weeks as well. So, yeah, I didn't hate what I saw from Luis Rodriguez. And then on the flip side, you got Denise Bondar, who just seems fraudulent to me. I mean, this is a guy who you check one website, he's 19-4. You check another website, he's 15-4. You check another website, he's 16-4. I mean, some of these websites are counting his wins, some aren't. And then the more I dug into his record, I found that he's only 5-4 against opponents with a winning record. Just fought, terrible competition throughout his career. And yeah, he looked somewhat impressive against these bums outside the UFC. But, since getting in the UFC, he's just looked awful. I mean, getting finished by Malcolm Gordon, I know that was an injury loss, but I mean, he wasn't looking great up until then against Malcolm Gordon. So that was inexcusable. And then against Carlos Hernandez, I actually thought that was a good matchup for him. Carlos Hernandez is getting taken down by everybody, but Bondar wasn't able to take him down, wasn't able to hold him down. So, yeah, I just have not liked what I've seen from Bondar thus far. He's coming off of a brutal knockout loss. On paper, it'll say decision, but he got knocked out, and it was very brutal. I mean, the ref that was reffing that fight probably should be in prison right now. There was a slam, and Bondar was out on the slam, it looked like, and then Bondar just ate 10 nasty follow-up shots. I mean, it was horrible. So what's he going to look like after that? Because that wasn't too long ago. So yeah, I'm taking Rodriguez here. Got the plus money. Sean's saying he sucks so bad. I don't think he sucks so bad. Is he the best fighter? No, but Bondar is not the best fighter as well. I think skill for skill, these guys are actually pretty close. But with Rodriguez, this is a guy that I think is more durable. This is a guy that's 7 years younger. This is a guy that's been training in Mexico City. And this is a guy that has room for improvement. Whereas with Bondar, I'm not sure we're going to see any improvements after he almost died in his last fight. So Rodriguez money line, 1 unit plus 105. And then also I saw a spot that stuck out earlier in the week. Fight ending by submission plus 500 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I hit it for a half unit. You take a look at, I'm actually picking Luis Rodriguez to win this fight by 3rd round submission. So there's that. But, Denise Bondar, when he's winning fights by submission. A 71% submission rate for Denise Bondar, which is the biggest submission rate on the entire card. Both these guys put themselves into bad spots. Both these guys have good offensive grappling. So yeah, I could see a sub here at plus 500. I was leaning violence anyway. So that line didn't make sense. So yeah, I have a half unit on the fight ends by sub, 1 unit on Luis Rodriguez money line. Was looking at maybe Luis Rodriguez late props, but I don't want to be this much exposed to this fight because this is probably the lowest level fight on the card, to be honest. But I will take Dos Santos, though, and I think he finishes Bondar at some point in this fight. From a DraftKings perspective, I think both sides are in play here. Rodriguez, I think he has some finishing upside. He hits very hard, sneaky submission game. And then if Denise Bondar wins, I don't think many people are going to play him. He is the dog now at 8,200. And maybe he does get his wrestling going. We'll have to see. But yeah, solid fight from a DraftKings perspective. But I like Luis Rodriguez here. Let's see here. If it was Jerome Rivera, not Deere, I mean, that's a big talking point for this fight. I mean, that fight was 4 years ago. So Luis Rodriguez was either 2021. I'm pretty sure he improved since then. I despise BJJ nerds, but play a sub looks nice. Plus 350. We'll definitely talk about that. Running MMA. Luis sucks. I guess that's the big talk of the town this week. A lot of people are on Bondar, which actually kind of shocks me. A lot of really sharp people are on Bondar, which I was not expecting to see this week. Oh, wait, I spoke too soon. Bondar might be the most pathetic. Yeah, I mean, 0 for 2 in the UFC. Brutal losses in each time. I'm thinking Bondar less 72.5 fantasy score on Prize Picks. I don't hate that. We got J-Bone saying, let's go, let's go. Bondar potentially fraud. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting Mosvarov vibes from Denise Bondar. I mean, this guy's record's fraudulent. He doesn't look terrible outside the UFC, but yeah, the record is pretty fraudulent. On Rodriguez KO, because those kind of shots can change your chin. Absolutely, that's a good point there. I wouldn't show my face in public if I was Bondar after his last fight. Yeah, that was hard to watch. And again, that ref should probably have got charged with attempted murder. I mean, that was a terrible decision by the ref. Denise Fraudar, yeah, I think so as well. Getting KO'd by Malcolm Gordon is all I need to know about Bondar. Prado has only 11% bets handle. He might ruin a lot of people's night Saturday. Potentially, there is going to be some parlay busters, I imagine. Lots of parlays on this card. Brady, who looked bad on the scales? Nobody really. I mean, I know Chara's missed weight by 1,000,000 pounds. He didn't look bad at all. Like, it looked like he didn't even attempt to cut weight. Lacerda didn't look terrible, even though he missed weight. Nobody really looked that bad to me that, like, absolutely stuck out. Ricky Tercio showed up with, like, 10 minutes left. He looked fine. Brandon Royval showed up with, like, 30 minutes left. I thought he looked fine. So nobody looked that bad to me. If anything stuck out to you guys, let me know. I don't think Bondar is a fraud. Yeah, I think he's skilled. It's just the record is fraudulent. That's not debatable. His record's very fraudulent, but yeah, I think he's a skilled fighter. I thought Bondar looked bad. He has no durability. Durability is an issue. Brady really picking Claudia Poyas after that butt-dragging jiu-jitsu performance against the hangman. Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of people were on Poyas that week, and that was my big is Dan Hooker a bum spiel, and actually made a lot on Dan Hooker that week. I was all over Dan Hooker, and if that Dan Hooker fight didn't happen, we would not be seeing Zion at minus 200 because Poyas was on like a 4 or 5 fight win streak at the time. A lot of people were like, he was getting some hype, believe it or not. What did Edgar weigh in at 131? Bondar is not bad. I don't think he's bad. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying his record's fraudulent. But he has looked terrible in the UFC for what it's worth. House on Poyas this weekend. Don't do that. Ricky got staff. He's got something going on. I saw that picture going around as well. He's got something going on, but I don't know what it is. All right. Moving on to the next fight, we got Faraz Ziam going against Claudio Poyas. Yeah, not much sticking out here, but what does stick out, as somebody mentioned it earlier, is that sub prop plus 360 for Claudio Poyas. Put a half a unit on it. Didn't want to go any more than that. I think that's pretty much his money line. Like, he's obviously not going to knock out Faraz Ziam, and I don't really see him winning a decision either. I don't think he has great minute winning ability. To win minutes, he's going to need to get takedowns consistently. And if he's getting takedowns, he's probably getting the sub. So yeah, submission, half a unit plus 360, nothing you could be extremely confident in. I know a lot of people are on Zion. Was looking at the Zion late props as well, but they're just terrible prices. They've also got smashed throughout the week. So somebody's on them, which, I could potentially see it. But, if I'm getting a Zion finish prop or late finish prop or round props, I need much better numbers than, I think it's like 10-1 for round 3, like 750 to plus 850 for round. Like, they're terrible. They're horrible. So I'm just on the Poyas sub. I think if he gets the fight down to the mat at any point in this fight, he's very live to win by sub. This is a guy that obviously is a very good BJJ black belt. Zion has struggled on the mat before. He's been sub 3 times, including against Terrence McKinney. McKinney made it look pretty easy. So yeah, it really just takes a takedown. And on top of that, Poyas can get the fights down to the mat in different ways, pulling guard, rolling for a leg, taking the back standing. So Poyas sub plus 360. Think it's pretty much his money line. I don't hate that. From a DraftKings perspective, fading Zion, I mean, even if he wins, it's probably like a terrible, horrible score. He just doesn't throw anything. He doesn't do anything. He's a very, horrible fighter to watch. Very skilled fighter, Zion. Just his fights are never really exciting. Maybe he gets a late finish, but even then, at 8,700, I think there's a lot better options this week. So Poyas on DraftKings for me, and then Poyas sub. Not going too crazy on it, though. And I'm not putting the house on Poyas this weekend. That's for sure. Ricky's chest was nasty. Yeah, something was going on with Ricky. Love the sub prop. Yeah, I mean, I think that's his win condition in this plus 360. I don't hate it. Not going to lie, after how easily Terrence subbed Faraz, I might have to sprinkle some on Poyas sub. I mean, that's his win condition. If he's going to win, it's probably sub. And like I said, if that Dan Hooker fight didn't happen, I think this fight's probably a pick'em. because man, there was some hype starting to build on Poyas. People were betting this guy against Dan Hooker. I'm like, what are you doing? Everybody's like, Dan Hooker's a bum. No, he's not. No, he's not a bum. So yeah, I think there's a lot of recency bias in this line for sure. With that said, though, like Zion could stuff takedowns, make it look easy. It's just the path for Poyas is potentially there. What's up, Brady? I respect your Volk pick, but I cashed big on Aaliyah under 2.5 rounds KO. It was clear what was coming. There you go. I mean, hindsight's 2020. Hi, Al. Ended up not betting that fight, thankfully. I had my finger hovered over the trigger of Volk all week. Just didn't pull the trigger on it. Had a really bad feeling about that fight. And it looks like that feeling was right because Volk got sparked in the second round. Zion is kind of better than him, like more well-rounded. Yeah, he's the much better striker. I mean, anybody's a better striker than Claudio Poyas. Get that butt scooter out of here. There you go. Why do you think Dan Hooker's a bum, man? Dan Hooker's not a bum. He just beat Jalen Turner, did he not? Or am I tripping? Half a unit, yeah, just half a unit. That's about it. I think that's as deep as I want to go. Poyas under 1.5. I think it could come in any round. I don't want to mess with the round there. Appreciate that, Lou. What is up? What is up, Lou Betcha? Yeah, I actually took the hat off for the full card breakdown earlier this week. I need a haircut though, and then I'll take it back off. Dan Hooker basically got subbed and KO'd by Jalen Turner as well. If he was anyone else, he's just durable. Yeah, he's super durable, Dan Hooker. All right, we'll move on to this next fight. We have Edgar Chairez going against Daniel Da Silva. What do you mean? Aren't you a Penn State fan, Lou? It's an amazing hat, especially if you're a Penn State fan. I know you're a Bo Nickel fan, that's for sure. We're all Bo Nickel fans. All right, we got Edgar Chairez, Daniel Lacerda Da Silva, and yeah, this fight is pretty much cursed, but luckily, this fight is going to happen. Daniel Lacerda missed weight 127, no surprise there. But what was kind of a surprise was Edgar Chairez missing weight and weighing in at 131 pounds. Not a shock that he missed weight, but a shock that he did miss weight by that much. I mean, it was an incredible weight miss. Luckily, this fight's even happening. They both missed weight, but we're going to get to see this fight this Saturday night, which is going to be awesome. So what I do like here is I like the late props for Chairez. I'm pretty much fading the round one. Could this fight end in round one? Sure, it could, but you saw in their last fight, we saw a more tentative, like a more patient Daniel Lacerda. Is actually weird. He was taking his time in there. The fight got extended, and obviously there was that potential submission. Was he out? Was he not? Did he tap? Did he not? Weird stoppage. I think it was Chris Tione. But yeah, that fight was getting extended, and I thought it was on its way to going to that second round. And yeah, I think if this fight does reach the second round, it is all Edgar Chairez. I think the Edgar Chairez round 2 prop is very live. Round 3, I don't think it gets there, but if it does, it's live as well. So that's what I played. I have 0.75 units on Edgar Chairez round 2 plus 400. I think it does come in round 2, and then a quarter unit sprinkle on Edgar Chairez round 3 at plus 1,000. I also like the fight ends by submission. It's a spot that I did like in their first fight. And it almost happened, right? It almost happened. Edgar Chairez almost got that sub. And at that point, it was like plus 150. This week, it's plus 160. So I bet that as well, 0.75 units. Edgar Chairez, you take a look at him. Both these guys actually have more submission wins than they do knockouts. Daniel Lacerda, 55% submission rate. Edgar Chairez, 60% submission rate. Edgar Chairez has never been knocked out as well. So I think the fight has a good chance of ending by submission. So I like that. And yeah, I like Chairez here. Daniel Lacerda probably has, maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes of gas if he does calm himself down a little bit, which it looks like he has been doing. And yeah, once this fight reaches the second round, I expect it to be Chairez just taking over and getting a finish in that second there. So late props for Chairez, attacking a lot of late props this week. This is one of them. I'm doing so. From a DraftKings perspective, I think Chairez 9,300. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think he's live for a finish. Obviously, anybody is against Lacerda. And then Lacerda 6,900. Is the ultimate dart throw. He's always in play because he is super extremely dangerous. All right. So yeah, it should be a fun fight. Hopefully it still happens. Are you a Sandusky fan? That Sandusky stuff happened how long ago, man? Like 15, 20 years. It was a long time ago. UFC told him to stop cutting, not a real weight miss. Got changed to a catch weight due to Daniel. Edgar looked off on the scale. I didn't think so. It looked like he didn't even try to attempt to cut weight, to be honest, but I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go back and look. He didn't look awful to me. He didn't look sucked out. He looked fine as you can be for missing weight this bad. Round 2. Lacerda will fight for your money for 21 seconds. Yes, I'm really worried about the cardio of Lacerda this week. I mean, we could see him gassing out on the walkout today. Edgar did not look awful. He looked fine. I mean, it looked fine to me, but this fight is Kirk's draw incoming. Yeah, I mean, if this fight does good decision, it is probably going to be like a draw or something crazy happening like that. Odds on Lacerda KO. Lacerda KO is, let's see, Lacerda KO plus 750. But keep in mind, Charas has never been knocked out before. When Charas does lose, it is by sub. When Charas does lose, it is by sub or decision. Let's see here. Edgar missed weight by a lot. Something must be up with him, injury, or maybe he just doesn't want to cut the weight, man. I mean, this is a guy that it probably should not be fighting at flyweight. But yeah, maybe something's up with him. I don't know. Lacerda's getting cut. I hope not. I hope they give him another contract. I mean, this guy could go 0-10-1 in the UFC. He's a very fun fighter. I enjoy watching him. Daniel's due for a KO win due to his style. It's just statistics. Y'all are sheep. Daniel, round 1 KO. Shout out to UFC in the building. All right, we'll move on. We got Mateus Mendonce going against Jesus Aguilar. And yeah, a couple spots sticking out here. So first look, I kind of maybe lean to the Mendonce side. I think he's going to have a massive, like 9.5-inch reach advantage. This is a guy that, is probably he's going to be the better striker here. He's going to be the better striker. It's just after digging more into this fight, Mateus Mendonce, I mean, this guy makes a lot of mistakes on the mat. This is a guy that is submission over position. We saw in his last fight against Nate Maness, right? Obviously, it was a horrible look, just making mistake after mistake on the ground, getting pounded out in that first round. But it's not even that. Like, you watch his fights outside the UFC, he is making mistake after mistake on the mat, and you just can't do that at this level against a guy like Jesus Aguilar, especially, who is a very, very good grappler. Another thing that concerns me about Mendonce is going to be the cardio. These shoot-to-box guys were the last 3 guys to show up to Mexico City. I don't like that. I already questioned the cardio of Mendonce in general to begin with. So, yeah, I questioned the cardio of Mendonce. If he's not able to finish Aguilar early, what's he going to look like in that second or third? And Aguilar's not bad. Yes, he has a 62-inch reach, which is like the same reach as Corey McKenna. But he can wrestle and he can grapple. He has a very nasty guillotine. He's finished a lot of his wins by sub. So, yeah, I like Aguilar here as a dog, and the money has came in on Aguilar. It looks like. Let's see. Aguilar is currently sitting at plus 105. So yeah, money has came in on Aguilar throughout the week. This line looks to be approaching a pick 'em at this point. What I like here is I think fight ends by sub. I've seen some people on it. I like it as well. Both these guys, very good grapplers. Jesus Aguilar, a 67% submission rate. His only knockout comes against Shannon Ross. I don't count that. I really don't. That should not count. So really, he has no knockouts on his record. And then Mateus Mendonce, he's finished a few fights, the majority of those coming by submission as well. And then on top of that, I mean, both these guys put themselves into very bad spots on the mat. Jesus Aguilar has been submitted, believe it or not, in both of his losses. Mateus Mendonce has not been submitted yet, but it could come here, and I think it does come here in that second or third round after he does gas out. So I like Jesus Aguilar here by submission in that second or third round. Bet the fight ends by sub, and I also bet Aguilar round 2, round 3. Aguilar round 2, I think plus 900. Aguilar round 3 plus 1,300. I think he breaks Mateus Mendonce and gets him out of there late. I think violence is fine here, but that's kind of how I'm playing it. Let's see here. You bring so much comedy to your breakdowns. You shot E. You should be a comedian. He'll gas at the walkout. I mean, I wasn't joking, Forrest. I mean, he honestly might gas in the walkout. We've seen fighters gas, during the walkouts before. Most notably was Michelle Pereira against Tristan Connolly, where we had that, crazy dance routine. So we've seen it before. It could happen here as well. Yeah, I mean, I've heard this 10 times now. Charas was informed that Lacerda wasn't going to make weight and was told to stop cutting weight at whatever it was, hence weighing in at 131. Okay. I mean, I didn't hear that, but I've heard it in this chat a lot now, which I guess it makes sense. So they're making this fight a catch weight. But I mean, don't you think he would still cut weight because he's getting fined, right? Like they're fining the crap out of Charas. I mean, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I mean, unless they were going to say it's a catch weight, then neither of them should be fined. I don't know. But yeah, I've heard that a few times now. Love all the idiots ignoring that the UFC told Edgar to stop cutting weight. I mean, that's the talk of the town right now. Apparently, the UFC did tell Edgar to stop cutting weight, and they're still going to fine him, I suppose. So, weird situation. Lacerda has no gas, and he didn't arrive in Mexico early enough. Yeah, he just got there. Where's the prize picks? I'm not sure. You got it, Brady. Jesus gets it. I think so as well. Aguilar is a false prophet. He's 100% getting crucifix KO'd. You think he's getting KO'd? I don't know about that. This is going to be a boring fight. I hope not. I don't think there's going to be any boring fights. Maybe the Zion fight's boring. What are your thoughts on Rob Microsoft Word font? Is he just a journeyman for bantamweights trying to get in the top 10? Yeah, I think you can classify him as a journeyman at this point. Brady, slide to the Atlantic City for fight night here. We got to hit the blackjack tables. When is Atlantic City? That's February, March. That's March 30th, right? Around there? Maybe. We'll see. I want to go to UFC 300, which is in April. Hazy Spy KO. I mean, if he can KO Shannon Ross, he can KO anybody. Shannon Ross, that guy's next level durable. Jonathan, let's roll. I agree. Let's roll. Let's keep moving on, guys, to the next fight. We have what do we got? Christian Quinones going against Hayani Barcelos. And yeah, the second bet I made, actually I think it was the first bet, actually. The first bet I made this card, I was live on Stat Diggers and a spot really stuck out. Hayani Barcelos, Christian Quinones under 2.5 rounds, 1 unit plus 100. Beat some line movement there. I think there's a finish in this fight. Christian Quinones is a kill or be killed fighter. All offense, no defense. He has 2 fights in the UFC. Both those fights have finished in the very first round. And you can kind of see why with the way this guy, the way this guy fights. I can't talk. Ton of power on the feet, very, very hittable. Submission defense is a problem. And yeah, I think there's a good chance somebody does get served here. It's hard to be confident on either side, right? Like if this fight was a few years ago, I'd probably be max betting Hayani Barcelos. But the fact that he is 36 years old, almost 37 years old at bantamweight scares me. I think his durability might be waning a little bit. We've seen him hurt a lot more in these past few fights. So yeah, I think Christian Quinones is very live to get a knockout here. I think Barcelos is live to get a knockout, and I think Barcelos is live for a sub as well. A spot that I had circled before any odds came out was Barcelos by submission, because this guy, every fight we always talk about this guy's grappling. This guy is a 3rd-degree black belt. He's a phenomenal grappler. We don't get to see it a ton, but he's a phenomenal grappler. Like if he gets fights down the mat, especially against these lower level guys like a Quinones, the sub is going to be there. He does have, I think, maybe 1 sub in the UFC, but he's fighting some solid grapplers in the UFC. Tamir Valiev, solid grappler. Victor Henry, never been finished. Trevin Jones, black belt. Umar Nurmagomedov, Kyler Phillips, black belt. So he's fought a lot of really good grapplers, right? He did submit Chris Gutierrez back in 2018. I think if he's going to get a submission, it's going to be here. I mean, Christian Quinones, he's been submitted twice. Christian Quinones is a guy who, I really question the submission defense. He puts himself into a ton of bad spots. I mean, if you're Hayani Barcelos, you take this fight down to the mat. And if he does, I think he makes it look pretty easy. But if Hayani does want to go out there and stand and bang with Quinones, could he still win that fight? Sure. But he could also get knocked out. So if Barcelos wrestles here, gets the fight down the mat, I think that sub prop's very much on the table. And I did take a half unit shot at plus 480. I think that sub prop's super live this week. So under and Barcelos by sub are the spots I'm attacking for this fight. And I think somebody's getting finished here regardless. Barcelos is going to come out and wrestle to decision. The problem with Barcelos here in terms of that, could it happen? Potentially, but I worry about the gas tank, dude. Like if he does go out here and wrestle and wrestles, Can he do it for 15 minutes? I'm not so sure. I worry about Barcelos' cardio in general. We've seen him slow down, lose rounds late in general. I'd be very worried about his cardio here if this fight gets extended. What's up, Brady? What is your most confident two-fight moneyline parlay? No parlays for me this week, but I would be parlaying up Brandon Moreno, and I would say Muhammad Naimov, but earlier in the week. I mean, this guy's minus 600 now, but those are probably my two confident picks on the card. On Barcelos there. I think Heine gets the better of him on the stand-up or on the ground. Kong took down Quinones easy for the quick sub. I think Barcelos wraps up the early sub. Yeah, if he grapples, he's subbing Quinones. I mean, I think there's a huge, massive discrepancy in the grappling. Barcelos is less durable than my granddad. Goodness, Melon. If you're getting KO'd by a guy that hugs legs, please retire. That KO was brutal, man. It looked like Usman barely landed, put him out cold. It's just a brutal knockout loss. Christian by split decision. I got to go with the wily veteran. Yes, he's a very skilled fighter, but he's getting up there in age. What do you think caused the Naimov line movement? That seems very sketchy. There's been sketchy line movement in a bunch of fights. Yasmin Haregi's minus 600. Naimov's minus 600. Edgar Chara's like minus 550, right? So I think it's one of those instances where people just parlaying them. Nobody's playing silver. Everybody's putting Naimov in their parlays. I think it might be, that type of case this week. Yeah, it's hard to trust Barcelos. I mean, he's not the worst pick in the world this week. Like, I think he's more skilled. It's just, is his durability going to hold up? Is that cardio going to hold up? We'll see. All right. Moving on, we got Manuel Torres going against Chris Duncan. I cannot wait for this fight. I believe this is the first fight on the prelims or the first fight of the main card or the featured prelim. But yeah, we got Manuel Torres, who had more line movement. Manuel Torres was sitting around like minus 120 for a while. And now he got all the way up to minus 200. He's back down, though, to minus 190, minus 185 there. So I like a couple spots here as well. A spot that jumps out to the page to me is the fight won't start round 2 at a pick'em minus 110. The reason being is Manuel Torres, 16 fights, 15 of those 16 fights have ended in the very first round, and you can absolutely see why. This guy, the nickname El Loco, and it's El Loco for a reason. This guy is just a complete madman in there. One of the most wild fighters in the UFC. No regards to his own safety and a ton of power. We've seen Duncan hurt. We've seen him knocked out. We've seen him knocked down a ton. I think a Manuel Torres first round finish is very live. I think a Chris Duncan first round finish is live. So the fight won't start round 2 at a pick'em when Torres has seen a second round once in 16 fights. That makes a lot of sense to me. So I have 1.5 units on that. But if this fight does reach the second round, I think it's all Chris Duncan. I really worry about the cardio of Manuel Torres. This is a guy that's looking tired in first rounds of fights. This is a guy that just cannot sustain the pace that he brings to the table. He's a complete madman. So yeah, if this fight reaches the second round, I worry about Torres. So if you like Torres, you probably bet him by first round knockout, or bet that fight won't start round 2. Get some Duncan early finishing equity as well. But I also like these Duncan late props. Like if this fight reaches the second round, I'm not sure Torres is going to have much left. Whereas we've seen Duncan go 15 minutes. We've seen him go to the second round, to the third round against UFC caliber fighters. So I'm on that fight won't start round 2. And I also sprinkled these Duncan late props, quarter unit, Duncan round 2 plus 900, and then Duncan round 3 plus 2,000 quarter unit as well. If this fight reaches the second or third, those late props will be very, very live, I think. But yeah, fight won't start round 2 is probably my favorite play. 1.5 units, pick them. I think that's pretty generous for a Manuel Torres fight. The under 1.5, I think is solid as well. So yeah, I think somebody gets served here regardless. Could be Torres early, could be Duncan early. But if this fight does get extended, Duncan late props will be on the table there. Great fight to target on DraftKings, 8,300 for Torres. First round finish upside. He's going to be very popular. He's now like a minus 200 favorite at 8,300, but he has a ton of upside. First round finish upside. I like it. And then Duncan, he has some finish upside in his own right, some takedown upside, grappling upside, and then late finish upside as well. Give me Duncan. Yeah, if you like Duncan, honestly, like live bet could be very interesting for Duncan, because there's a good chance he gets floored like 3 times in this first round or knocked out, right? Like Duncan round, if you live bet Duncan after the first round, you can get a much better price tag, I think. But could Duncan also finish Torres in the first round? Yes, I think it could. Torres has been finished in the first round twice as well. This one is tough. I'll take Torres by KO or decision. Oh, Torres by KO or Duncan money line. If Duncan gets out of the first, he can do it. Yeah, I think a Duncan decision wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. Duncan by decision is probably something crazy. Duncan by decision is plus 850. Plus 850. The fight doesn't go to decision is minus 700, which is the most likely fight to end inside the distance according to the odds. Love me a Duncan round 2, 3 finish if a bookie has it. Yeah, I sprinkled it myself. If this fight reaches the second, I think Duncan's very live. Duncan's chin won't hold up. I don't think so either. But if it does, I like that bet. Brady's safer than taking a side here. Yeah, I like it. Duncan's cardio ain't that great either. It may not be great, but it's better than Manuel Torres's, I think. I truly do think that. I mean, Duncan's gone the full 15 minutes, whereas Manuel Torres, he's seen his second round once his entire career. Draw. It could be. 10-8 Manuel Torres, round 1. Duncan, round 2, round 3. It could be. Duncan is slower than molasses. He is getting caught early. Yeah, if you're Duncan, you probably have to push this guy against the cage and get him tired and drag him into that second round. At range, he's gonna get beat up pretty bad, I think. Draw is a lock. Goodness. Manuel 10-8 him, and then Duncan hugs legs for 10 minutes. Hey, it could happen. It could certainly happen. Let's see here. Well, I'm saying Duncan improved a lot between his last fights. He had a good gym ATT. I expect him to keep looking good, but Torres could easily clip him. Fun fight. Yeah, it's a fun fight. It's absolutely a fun fight. Duncan couldn't even finish a can of Diet Coke, let alone a UFC fight. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Duncan's actually a pretty great finisher outside the UFC, but inside the UFC, he just hasn't shown that. I mean, this guy Duncan, I think up until his last 2 fights, had finished every fight prior to that. I think he has like 8 finish wins, but yeah, in the UFC, kind of has been like a decisionator lately. Yeah, we can talk some prize picks real quick because I do want to talk some prize picks. Let's see. So for prize picks, the spots that I am looking at are, let's see, we can just kind of go through the board there. So the spots I'm looking at will kind of start down low. Do I have anything for the Naimov fight? No. Felipe Dos Santos, I like the more on the significant strikes, 70.5. This guy is throwing a ton of volume, and Victor Altamirano is extremely tough. I think it goes 15. I think the more on the Felipe Dos Santos significant strikes makes a lot of sense. Edgar Chairez, Daniel Lacerda, no. Barcelos, I like the Barcelos less than 11 minutes fight time. It might have moved, but less than 11 minutes fight time. And let's see what else we got here. We'll talk about Yasmin Haregi. I do like the more on the fantasy score, and I'll kind of talk about why right now. I think she's going to land a lot of volume. I think a potential finish is in play, and I also think she can get points from stuffing takedowns, which you can on prize picks get points for stuffing takedowns, and I think the game plan for Hughes is going to be to try to wrestle. Other than that, what other spots did I like? I like the Moreno takedowns. It was set at 2.5 earlier in the week. It's now 3, which I still don't hate. But I loved it at 2.5. The Brandon Moreno takedowns. Far as I am less on the fantasy score, 80.5. I like the far as I am less, and I think that's pretty much about it for this week. Oh, Zellhuber more on the fight time as well, 11 minutes. So those are kind of the spots that stick out on prize picks. Less significant strikes on Bondar. Yeah, I could see that. I'm not sure what it's set at. I haven't checked, but yeah, I don't hate that. Because I do think the Bondar fight could play out on the mat. On top of that, I think there could be a finish as well. Prize Picks is not nasty. Come on. And by the way, shout out to Prize Picks. Use that promo code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Let's see here. We got Moyes in the building. What is up, Moyes? Cejudo is not retiring. He's not? I thought he did. Is he not retiring? Where does he go now? I don't know, dude. Where does he go now if he's not retiring? But he should retire. Come on, Cejudo. He's on a 2-fight skid now, which is crazy. All right. We'll move on to the next fight. We got Yasmin Haregi going against Sam Hughes. And yeah, I mean, I like Haregi here a decent amount. It's no hot take. She's minus 600, but there actually are a lot of people I've seen on Sam Hughes. I just think it's a terrible matchup for Sam Hughes. I really do. Like, for Sam Hughes to win this fight, I think she's going to have to get takedowns, which Haregi has incredible takedown defense, and she has good grappling in her own right. So I don't see Sam Hughes really taking down Haregi. On top of that, on the feet, I just think it's one-way traffic. Sam Hughes, she's very tough. That's kind of her thing is she's tough. She can outlast these opponents. They gas out and she takes over. We've seen that time and time again. But, she's very, very hittable. I like the striking of Haregi. I like the volume, the power of Haregi as well. And I think she really beats up the face of Sam Hughes. I can see like a referee mercy stoppage here. I could see a cut, a doctor stoppage here. I think she's really going to bash the face of Sam Hughes in this one. So yeah, I like Haregi. I like Haregi. And I like Haregi inside the distance. The interesting thing about the inside the distance was on a lot of books, the inside the distance for Haregi was the same exact price as the fight doesn't go to decision. So obviously you play the fight doesn't go to decision, because if Sam Hughes does win, how does she win this fight? Maybe Haregi has an adrenaline dump. Maybe she gasses out. Maybe Sam Hughes is able to get a finish late, something along those lines. So yeah, fight doesn't go to decision. I'm on it for 0.75 units at plus 145. And then I also like the Haregi late finish props, round 2, round 3, sprinkled them as well. I just think it's going to be attritional. I think she's going to hit Sam Hughes so much in the face that the ref's going to be like, no moss, no moss. That's enough. We don't need to see any more. So yeah, I think obviously, do you want to play Haregi at minus 600? No, you don't. But I kind of feel like she looks minus 600 here in this fight. I just think it's a tough matchup for Sam Hughes. Haregi's not going to gas out in one round like Jacqueline Amarim. She's not going to gas out in 7.5 minutes like Estela Nunez. She's not Elise Reed as well. And those are kind of the wins for Sam Hughes. So yeah, I like Haregi here, but I know a lot of people that are taking the shot on Sam Hughes. She's come through as a dog a lot, but it's a tough matchup, especially in Mexico. Yasmin is shredded. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Sam Hughes KO3 is a must play. Yeah, that's kind of why I took the fight doesn't go, because I do think if Sam Hughes does win, it is some type of round 3 spectacular come from behind type win. So that's why I took the fight doesn't go. On top of that, it is pretty much the same price as Yasmin inside the distance. See, we got Luis saying I'm starting to lean towards Duncan now as well. He looked ready in the weigh-ins. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And he said he's like really prepared for this elevation. We'll see. Yasmin looks great. She looks great outside of her last fight against Denise Gomes. That was rough. That was rough. But yeah, give me Yasmin to potentially finish Sam Hughes there. We got Mark, my number 1 fan. What is up, Mark? Thank you for checking in. Nice to see you in here on a Friday. Which fighter do you fade the most on this card? Which fighter do I? Oh, Daniel Lacerda. I mean, it's not even close. It's Daniel Lacerda, and that's it. Yeah, it's Daniel Lacerda. Yep. There's not a close second. It's Lacerda for me. But really, I just bet violence on Daniel Lacerda fights, every single one of them. That's what I like doing. Oh, we got an Elise Reed fan in the building. I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan of Elise Reed. She's made me some money in some fights. I actually bet her as an underdog against somebody, I forget who. And then I also bet Lupe Godinez inside the distance and by sub, made a lot of money there. But she did cost me money against, who was that? Corey McKenna. Yeah, I was so confident in Corey McKenna, and Elise Reed was able to beat her. So, yeah, I mean, I tend to bet on a lot of Elise Reed fights. Favorite 2 prize picks. Man, it's probably between Faraz Ziam, less on the fantasy score, or I like Zellhuber more on the fight time, and then even like the Brandon Moreno more on the takedowns. I don't hate that as well. Probably between those. All right, we'll keep moving on. We got Raul Rosas Jr. going against Ricky Turcios. We got Ricky Turcios. He was the last person to weigh in, but he looked fine. Raul Rosas Jr. outside of like whatever was going on with his chest, I'm not sure what was going on there. But Raul Rosas Jr. he is minus 220. Ricky Turcios plus 185. And 12 and a half, 12.5 now. Dang, yeah, it's moved. I still think the fight goes the distance, but yeah, it has moved. Very popular play, rightfully so. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great matchup for Raul Rosas Jr. I know people are looking to fade this guy, but I'm not sure Ricky Tercios is that guy, man. I know Rosas Jr. got exposed against Christian Rodriguez, but that's Christian Rodriguez, who's a very, very good grappler in his own right. That's Christian Rodriguez, who has incredible takedown defense, incredible cardio, incredible toughness. Christian Rodriguez is no joke, right? And then you got Ricky Tercios, who just has just terrible, terrible takedown defense, a 45% takedown defense. Getting taken down by Brady Heastand 6 times, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I think Heastand's decent. Getting taken down 7 times by Kevin Natividad, there is a problem with that. There is a problem with that. So yeah, I think Raul Rosas Jr. is going to have no problem getting takedowns here. And I think Raul Rosas Jr. has a good chance to finish this fight, whether that be in round 1 or round 2. I'm leaning round 1. And I was going to bet the Raul Rosas Jr. early sub prop, sub 1, sub 2, but I found a prop that I do like on FanDuel. It's the round 1, round 2 combo at plus 210, which covers the KO and the sub, obviously, because I could maybe see a positional TKO here. I think he's just going to get Ricky Tercios in a ton of bad spots. I think submission's going to be live. I think a TKO could be live. We've seen Tercios knocked out before, and Tercios has never been subbed, but I was kind of looking through his record, and he's not really fought great grapplers. I think Brady Heastand would probably be the best one there, but Kevin Natividad, Mana Martinez, some of these other guys, they're not the best grapplers. So Raul Rosas Jr.'s finished 7 of 8 of his wins. I think he potentially gets a finish here. If this fight does get to the 3rd round, I don't think Rosas is finishing him. If anything, maybe Tercios is live for a late finish there in the 3rd round. But I'm going to say Rosas does get him out of there early on. So I'm on that 1-2 for Rosas. I love him on DraftKings. I mean, he's going to be able to take Ricky Tercios down at will. Even in a decision when Raul Rosas Jr. can get like 6, 7, 8 takedowns if that cardio does hold up. So not touching Tercios on DraftKings. I kind of think his path to win is like, I don't know, maybe a come from behind type win. Maybe I think Rosas would really have to F up here for Tercios to get the job done. So give me Raul Rosas Jr. in this one. Ricky has staff. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he had, but it was bad. It was very bad. We got Uncle Weezy. I love fading Bondar. Yeah, you called it, man. You called it from the jump. You said Bondar was a phony. I didn't think so. I didn't think so. I thought he could potentially go in there and beat Carlos Hernandez, take him down. But yeah, you called it. Weezy has called a few frauds on this card. Bondar, you were calling Lacerda potential phony from the jump. And then Eric Silva, you called him a fraud, and he got finished by TJ Brown. Yeah, C-Rod, if I was a year ago now expecting a massive improvements from Rosas, yeah, you got to expect improvements with the guy. And Christian Rodriguez is a phenomenal fighter. Like, I don't think that's the worst loss in the world. Pretty confident it will end Raul by decision. I could see it. Tercio is very tough, very durable. I just think he's going to be put into a bunch of very, very bad spots here. It's not even close. Raul will sub him early. That's kind of where I'm leaning as well. I got Daniel Zellhuber, Christian Quinones, Muhammad Naimov moneyline in a parlay. Love it or hate it. Thanks. Let's see here. Zellhuber, sure. Naimov, as long as you got an earlier, sure. Quinones, I don't know about Quinones, man. I mean, that fight can really go either way. I think somebody's getting served there. And Barcelos does have a huge path, but you're getting the younger guy. I like Zellhuber and Muhammad Naimov, though. Mark, hashtag agreeing. Shout out to Mark. Goodness, Melon. So Melon is on Tercios by decision. All right, let's keep moving on. We got Daniel Zellhuber going against Francisco Prado. Yeah, not much sticking out here. I think the over is fine. Over 2.5. It is a very popular play this week. It has got smashed. I remember doing stat diggers with Uncle Weezy on Sunday, and it was like plus 110. It was plus 110. It's now minus 130. So yeah, both these guys very durable. Both these guys never been finished. But both these guys are very good finishers. Prado a 100% finish rate. Zellhuber's up like 70-80% finish rate. So, but yeah, these guys are tough. Zellhuber can take a shot. We've seen that. Prado can take a shot. We've seen that. The guy's a brick for a head. So I think this fight does go 15 minutes. I think it's probably a Zellhuber decision, but I don't really want to lay minus 300 on the guy. And no props are really sticking out either, other than, like I said, that over 2.5, if anything, but it's been hit. The plus money's dried up. So gonna be staying away from the most part, and staying away from this fight from a DraftKings perspective. Zellhuber, he's not gonna grapple. I don't really think he finishes early, at least. And then as far as Prado, if anything, maybe it's some Prado just due to the fact that he does have a 100% finish rate. But yeah, not too interested in this fight from a betting perspective or DraftKings perspective, really. I think it's a great fight, though. Should be a fun fight, but nothing really sticking out to me. Parlay alert. Charas, Manuel, Rosa, Yair. I think I'm picking all four of them. I'm staying away from parlays, though. I mean, this is kind of a tough card for parlays, to be honest. What do you think about Charas Silva? Completes round 1, minus 105. I kind of like it. Is it going to be sweaty? Probably. Is it going to be terrifying? Probably. But I personally do think it does finish one round. I'm going with Prado, crazy underdog play. He is a big underdog. He has power. Zellhuber's underperformed before. It's not the worst dog shot in the world. Prado finish only. Don't hate that. This one is close. Both are really good, but I see Daniel getting the better of him and taking 2 out of the 3 rounds. I'm kind of seeing it the same way. Kind of like Prado at the number. Tough reach disadvantage, but he's a bigger dog. Yeah, I mean, it's the number, right? Like Zellhuber minus 300. I don't like it. All right. We're going to keep moving on, guys. We have the co-main event. Yeah, Rodriguez going against Brian Ortega. Yeah, this is a tough fight, in my opinion, to call. Like, I don't really trust either of these guys. Striker versus grappler matchup. With that said, Ortega, he has improved his striking a lot. We saw the Korean Zombie fight, just looked like a completely different fighter in that fight. But still, you got to give the striking advantage to Yair Rodriguez. Ortega, incredible grappler, never had the best wrestling. We haven't seen Ortega in a while as well. And what I find interesting about this fight is the last time these guys were fighting, Ortega was a decent-sized favorite. And since then, it has been a while. And Rodriguez, I think, is 1-1 since then. Finished Josh Emmett, looked career best against Josh Emmett, and then did get finished against Volkanovski. Yeah, I mean, I got to go Yair. The more active guy, I think he's going to have a big striking advantage, and I think he potentially gets a knockout here. Ortega's very hittable. He always has been, always will be. And what is that noise? What is my neighbor doing? I think he's sweeping out his car. What's going on? Anyway, so yeah, or Rodriguez by KO is a spot that I don't hate this week. I like violence as well. I think the fight doesn't go minus 200. It's a little bit generous. But what I did play in what I do like is the fight to end by knockout. Instead of playing Rodriguez by knockout, which, what is it? Plus 215. The fight ends by knockout. Plus 148, I got it at. Yeah, plus 145. I have 0.75 units on that because, Yair has been knocked out 3 times. The durability of Yair is a little bit questionable. Ortega does have power. And then I think if Yair wins, it is potentially by knockout. So I'm on that fight ends by KO. I was actually looking through the record of Ortega, and I don't necessarily think he's sub or bust. He has, 1, 2, 3 submission wins in the UFC. And I think he has 3 knockout wins in the UFC. Yeah, 3 knockout wins in the UFC. So kind of 50-50 there. The last time he did get a submission was back in 2017 against Cub Swanson. So I think somebody probably gets served here. I'm not sure who, but I do lean Rodriguez getting the knockout here. Leave off Yair. Ortega is winning. I mean, it's really tough to be confident in this co-main event, in my opinion. There's a lot of unknowns with the Ortega side. I bet Yair minus 150. I feel like he's a safe bet for this one. I would lean that side as well. I'm not going to get there, I don't think, but I would lean that side. I was at Yair versus Ortega, one awesome card, but was anticlimactic. Yair money line for me. And yes, he was. I mean, the striking of Yair is just incredible, and Brian Ortega is way too hittable. I bet the fight doesn't go minus 200. I like that. I took the fight ends by KO, get some plus money in there, but I think the fight does finish. Yair is the most overrated fighter in UFC history. I've never been more confident in anything in my life. People putting their faith in a guy that can get taken down by a what? By a what, Melon? I got Yair too. Brian was away for too long. He can't be the same as last time. Yair gets the sub. I know Ortega's a good grappler. This is a 5-rounder, right? Yes, this is a 5-rounder. 85% of the bets on Yair and DK on DK, and he's only minus 140. Kind of stinks. Maybe it does stink. Yair might be a max bet. I don't know about that, man. Yeah, we got 5 rounds here. 5 rounds here. I saw that as well there. Ortega's talking about Eagles living 70 years and how he's an Eagle. He's getting yeah. That was very interesting. All right, guys, main event time. If you guys haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, be on the lookout for the betting breakdown video to be out around 7 Eastern time. And then also best bet tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern time. We got the main event, Brandon Moreno, Brandon Royval. Yeah, not much sticking out here, honestly. I don't know. I like Moreno a lot, like a decent amount. I don't hate him as a parlay piece. If I was doing a parlay this week, it probably would have been Naimov Moreno, but I probably should have made that like Sunday or Monday. Now that Naimov's minus 600, I don't want to parlay him. But yeah, Moreno's probably one of my more confident picks, but minus 300, not a lot of meat on the bone there. In terms of any props, does he finish for Royval? Does he not? I'm actually kind of leaning decision here. Maybe a sub, but these guys have 12 losses. 10 of them do come by decision. Moreno's next level tough, next level durable. Royval is as well. So I think if there is a finish, it's probably Moreno by submission. But I think this fight probably does go 25 minutes. And when it does, Moreno just has such a clear path to victory in this one. And that clear path to victory is going to be getting the fight down on the mat. And Moreno's never been the best wrestler, but he really doesn't need to be. Brandon Royval's takedown defense is 40%. The path is there. I'm sure Moreno knows that. I'm sure he's going to take that path and either grind out a decision or get a sub. I'm not sure, but I think he does win this fight more often than not. I'm not sure what Brandon Royval's path to victory is. Is he going to be the first person to knock out Moreno? I don't think so. Is he going to be the first person to submit Brandon Moreno? I don't think so. Is he going to win a decision? I think that would probably be it. But as long as Moreno does wrestle, Royval's going to lose a lot of minutes here. So Moreno minus 300 parlay piece for me, but that's about it. From a Draftkings perspective, that's where I'm getting my exposure. 8,800 for Brandon Moreno. Seems pretty good to me. Like 5 rounds to work with, massive takedown upside, grappling upside, maybe sneaky submission upside as well. He's not too expensive. I like Brandon Moreno a lot on DraftKings. It's kind of where I'm going to get my exposure this week on him. Let's see here. I got Brandon in this fight. I do too. Why does Yair Ortega feel more like the main event? Yeah, I've heard a couple people say that, and yeah, it's an exciting fight. I think I am more so looking forward to Rodriguez Ortega, but both fights are pretty awesome. Brandon is a lock. He is a lock. I'd watch your Prize Picks content. I missed it with all the MMA content ahead of the pay-per-view. Yeah, maybe I'll bring it back. We'll have to see. Ortega's last win was 2020 versus Korean Zombie. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. I like Moreno. He was winning that first fight before that shoulder injury. Yes, he was. Moreno sub decision minus 150. That's a good look. I guess he did technically, TKO Royval in his last fight, but that was an injury, right? So yeah, Moreno sub decision. That makes a lot of sense to me. Moreno sub would be the nuts. Yeah, I was looking at that too. I had it circled for this week. It's just not a good price tag, in my opinion. Let's see. What is it? Moreno by sub, like plus 325. It's not terrible, I guess, but I can see a decision as well. No way it goes to decision, bro. Royval definitely isn't ready to go 5 rounds with Moreno. He accepted the fight thinking he's a backup fighter. Yeah, I mean, I said that same thing, Luis, when he fought Pantoja. I'm like, no way, Pantoja, Royval goes to decision, and it did. Moreno is the bet here. I think so as well. We go with Moreno in this one. Yeah, I'm picking him, but I haven't bet anything on him yet, and I'm not sure I will. If Moreno loses this fight, he needs to retire. Moreno is only 30 years old. Why do you keep telling people to retire, Melon? Money line to be safe. Yeah, I think so, but he's minus 300, so maybe 3 units to win one. But yeah, there we have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I think that's about it. I'm going to head out. Like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, check out the rest of the content, and be on the lookout for that betting breakdown video and also best bet tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern time. And yeah, it should be a fun card. I'm really looking forward to this card from a betting perspective, DraftKings perspective, fan perspective. This card kind of has a pay-per-view feel to me where we got a couple 5-round fights, just bangers from top to bottom. We got Daniel Lacerda de Silva on the card. So this card's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. Best of luck with your bets, your picks, and enjoy watching the fights. We'll see you guys later.